As a parent, one of my dreams was to be my son's best friend. However, is this what's best for your child? I believe that you should be your child's best friend by using communication over control to raise emotionally intelligent young people. When I was a teen, I was a rebel with a cause. It's just that it took me 30 years to figure out the cause. I was a wreck, emotionally disbalanced, academically unaware, and physically not knowing what was happening in my body. My parents, I'm sure, sat every night wondering what they did wrong for me to be everything they did not want their child to be. How many people here remember their teen years as fun or challenging? According to a report published by the WHO in 2021, 1 in 7 10 to 19-year-olds experience a mental disorder, accounting for 13% of the global burden of disease in this age group, and suicide as the 4th largest cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. So could I have done anything to prevent myself from going through the mental and the emotional turmoil that I felt as a teen? The answer that I get is a blatant no. My way of behaving, solving problems, making decisions, was largely based on the reactions that I received from my parents. This told me what I needed at that point was a parenting style which was less authoritative and more inclusive. Our mom was a stay-home mom, and our dad, a successful businessman who traveled across in his quest to make our lives better. When I had the two most amazing set of people in my life, my parents, for me, then what was lacking? It took me 30 years to figure out what was lacking. But when I did, I healed my relationship with myself, my parents, adjusted how I parent, simply by replacing the word control with connection. My passion for parent-teen relationships stems from my own lived experiences, or a midlife crisis. As I continued to move through my personal mental storms, I delved deep into research in the hope of finding a gold mine which could potentially give me all the answers. And here is what I found. This generation, popularly referred to as Generation Z, thrives in an environment which is built on connection. This kick-started my journey to understanding connection. As I continued to delve deep into research, I understood one thing. I needed to let go of control to step into connection. My journey to myself now had to mirror my journey with my son. You can preempt the next question. How do you move from control to connection? Be a parent, yet be a friend and a confidant. I'll share with you 5 cornerstones which will support you to move from control to connection in all your relationships, not just with your child. Creating space for healthy conversations is the first step to taming defiance and building connection. Defiant behavior typically peaks during 2 childhood turning points. One is at age 2, popularly referred to as terrible twos. And another is at age 12, when puberty opens its doors. Defiance is rooted in control and ego, both from a parent's perspective and a child's outlook. It's like a tug of war with the rope constantly thinning at both ends. According to a longitudinal study called Project Neuroteen, a child's brain activity tends to mirror a parent's brain activity, especially in the emotion processing regions such as the amygdala and the anterior insula. Teens really are like sponges, always absorbing behaviors. And while their reactions may be exaggerated, their actions are largely based on your reactions. I had touched my first step into connection. I created space for conversations with him. I controlled my actions to manage his reactions. Moving on into the journey to connection, the next one was the power and the choice cornerstone. Power and choice are two sides of the same coin. When you have power, you don't look for a choice. When you have choice, you don't search for power. I decided to use this as my teen raising strategy, as I like to call it. I gave my son the power by giving him choices and letting go of my fear. When he turned 17, like every other teenager, he was addicted to social media. While up until 16 and a half, he was following boundaries and putting the phone in the room next to him, at 17, his independence hormones kicked in. I spent a few sleepless nights in fear until my research brain kicked in. And I figured out the power and the choice strategy. I woke up the next morning and I told him, you can have the phone provided you make it to the bus in the morning. If you're unable to make it to the bus, you either find yourself a ride or pay for your ride. He bought the choice. The following week, he lost all his pocket money and did not make it to school more than a few days. After a week, he learned to use his phone responsibly because he needed adequate sleep and woke up on time to make it to the bus. I had learned to empower him. As I continued with my success stories, the next one that I figured out was this non-judgment and the comparison cornerstone. Self-judgment is a part of a regular teenager's life as they continue to compare themselves to social media, friends, peers, parents, and everything that they come in contact with. In addition to that, when a parent judges or compares a child, we tell them that they need to be perfect to be loved and accepted. Alongside, when we compare a child to a neighbor's child, we ensure that our child begins to dislike learning and we kill their motivation. Completely opposite to what our original aim was. Comparison is at the root of low self-esteem, low self-worth, depression, and anxiety. I understood that I needed to tame these two elements in me to move forward and step into connection. My son and I still have a pact of calling each other out each time we're judging or comparing anyone. Moving on to the next one, which is the respect cornerstone, a very big word in every parent's life. Respect is a two-way street. We cannot hide behind our age and demand respect from our child. I live by the saying, don't worry that your children are not listening to you. Worry that your child is watching you. As I continued to move into respect, I understood one thing, that every time a teenager disrespects you, which we consider as disrespect, if you were to look deep down, you will see a sense of powerlessness and a cry for connection and attention. I knew I needed to manage how I conduct myself to ensure I am giving the word respect adequate attention. The next cornerstone, which is the most important cornerstone of any relationship, is trust. Trust is the bedrock of any thriving relationship. When we promise our children that we are going to show up for them, and another thing takes priority, we are telling them, you're unwanted, you're neglected, and you're unimportant. And when we continue to repeat the behavior, we gather some very negative points. And we lose credibility. On the other hand, when we manage to keep our promises and show up for our children, We are building not only their emotional bank, we're building credibility, which is going to reap us rewards when we reach the teenage years. I gathered all of these 5 cornerstones and let go of my control. And now, I successfully have stepped into connection. To move your relationships from control to connection, create space for healthy conversations. Give choices to your loved ones. Create trust and respect in relationships, and don't judge and compare. We all come with our own boilerplate. It is best for you to be your child's best friend. Thank you.